The NBA is in crisis, viewership is plummeting, rivalries are fading, and fans are tuning out. But here's the twist. For the WNBA, this isn't a setback, it's a massive opportunity. Women's basketball has the chance to learn from the NBA's mistakes and carve its own path to dominance. Can the WNBA rise to the challenge and redefine the future of basketball? Stick around, because the answer might just surprise you. Let's start with the numbers. NBA ratings have fallen nearly 50% since 2012, with ESPN alone reporting a 28% drop this year. So, what's causing this decline? One major factor stands out: the decline of rivalries. Rivalries are the lifeblood of basketball. Think Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson or Michael Jordan versus the Bad Boys Pistons. These weren't just games, they were iconic battles that captivated fans. Today, however, genuine NBA rivalries have all but disappeared. Why? Because players switch teams too often for fans to get emotionally invested. Kevin Durant has been on 4 teams in the last decade. LeBron James, one of the greatest of all time, has built his career on moving to wherever the grass seems greener. The WNBA, however, has a unique advantage. Players tend to stay with teams longer, and rivalries like Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese are already capturing fan interest. Therefore, the WNBA has an opportunity to do what the NBA can't: build long-lasting rivalries that fans care about. Think about this. When was the last time you saw a truly dramatic NBA moment that wasn't interrupted by a referee's whistle? Players get technical fouls for glaring at each other, clapping in frustration, or hanging on the rim. Take this example. Giannis Antetokounmpo was hit with a technical foul simply for staring down an opponent after a dunk. Fans were outraged. The WNBA has a chance to embrace emotion, not police it.
Giannis' third block, he's going to take it off! Hooray! A hammer like nobody has!
Players like Clark and Reese show their passion on the court, and fans love it. But the league must resist the urge to overregulate. Let the players play, and let the fans feel the drama. However, drama alone isn't enough. Accessibility is just as important. Here's a major problem with the NBA. It's harder than ever to watch games. Regional blackouts, confusing TV deals, and expensive subscriptions make it nearly impossible for fans to follow their favourite teams. The WNBA, on the other hand, is making strides in accessibility. Games are increasingly available on streaming platforms, and the league has partnered with social media platforms to highlight key moments. This is a step in the right direction, but there's room for improvement. Imagine if every WNBA game was available on one affordable streaming service with no blackouts. That could be a game changer. But even if fans can watch, they need a reason to care. That's where player commitment comes in. The NBA has a perception problem. Many fans believe players care more about their off-court ventures than their performance on the court. Paul George, for example, has released more podcast episodes this season than games played. Fans have noticed, and they're not happy. Contrast that with the WNBA, where players like Sabrina Ionescu, Aja Wilson, and Caitlin Clark are all in on basketball. Their passion is palpable, and fans connect with that. Fans want to root for players who leave everything on the court. That's what makes sports compelling, says basketball analyst Rachel Nichols. Therefore, by showcasing its players' dedication, the WNBA can build a deeper connection with fans. Another challenge the NBA faces is its involvement in political and social issues. While advocacy is important, the league's strong stance on certain topics has alienated some fans. The WNBA is no stranger to activism. Players like Maya Moore have led movements that extend far beyond basketball.
We need to be people before players right now and just say something, because we're hurting.
When I made the decision to not be a professional athlete for that first year, it was really out of a desire to just prioritize the things that I was being convicted are most urgent. And it's really interesting how 2 years after that decision, we are literally being kind of forced to address some of these things that I was moving in that direction of.
But the league must balance this with its primary focus, the game itself. Advocacy and basketball can coexist, but neither should overshadow the other. But to truly stand out, the WNBA needs more than balance. It needs star power. Stars sell tickets, drive viewership, and inspire the next generation. The NBA had Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and now LeBron James. The WNBA has its own stars, but the league needs to go further in marketing them. Caitlin Clark is the perfect example. Her rivalry with Angel Reese is already legendary, and her record-breaking performances are must-watch TV. But it's not just about the superstars. The WNBA needs to shine a light on rising talents and role players who make the league special. Fans should know the stories of players beyond the headlines. And if the WNBA plays its cards right, the future could look very bright. The WNBA is already growing. Viewership for the 2023 finals was up 20% from the previous year, and merchandise sales are hitting record highs. But the league has even greater potential. Analysts predict that if the WNBA continues to invest in accessibility, star power, and rivalries, it could double its audience within the next decade. The WNBA is at a tipping point. With the right strategy, it can become one of the most influential sports leagues in the world, says sports economist Andrew Zimbalist. However, the league must act quickly to capitalize on this momentum. The NBA's decline is a warning, but it's also an opportunity. By learning from the NBA's mistakes and doubling down on its strengths, the WNBA can carve out a unique identity in the sports world. The question is, will the WNBA seize this moment, or will it miss the chance to redefine basketball for a new generation? If you believe in the future of the WNBA, support it today. Watch a game, follow your favorite players on social media, and be part of the movement that's reshaping basketball. Because the future isn't just bright, it's happening now.
The Dallas Mavericks are quietly building something that could shake the entire NBA. But it's not Luka Doncic or Kyrie Irving making the headlines this time. It's Quentin Grimes. Yes, the same player you likely overlooked, who's becoming a hidden weapon capable of transforming the Mavs season. His recent performances have exposed a terrifying truth. The Mavericks may have found the key to dominating both ends of the court. Stick around because what we're about to reveal could change how you see the Mavericks forever. Quentin Grimes came to Dallas without much fanfare. Known in New York as a solid 3-and-D role player, Grimes wasn't expected to become a major factor. But something changed when he arrived in Dallas. The system, the coaching, and the opportunities have unlocked a version of Grimes that no one saw coming. In his last 3 games, Grimes has averaged 24.3 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals, while shooting a blistering 53% from beyond the arc. For context, these aren't just good stats for a role player. They're elite numbers that put him in conversations with some of the league's best two-way players. Therefore, Grimes isn't just a nice addition anymore. He's turning into a cornerstone for the Mavericks' success. What sets Grimes apart isn't just his scoring, it's his defense. His lateral quickness, anticipation, and ability to navigate screens make him one of the most versatile defenders in the NBA right now. Grimes is currently ranked 7th in the league for ball screen navigation. This means he can predict and counter offensive moves before they even happen. For example, in a recent game, Grimes anticipated a screen from DeAndre Ayton, timed his steal perfectly, and turned it into an easy transition bucket. But it's not just about stats. It's how Grimes uses his defensive skills to disrupt opponents' rhythm. Mavericks coach Jason Kidd even said, "He's one of the best defenders we've had, especially on pick and rolls." This level of trust from Kidd explains why Grimes leads the team in plus-minus, a stat that measures a player's overall impact on the game. Grimes credits his time with the New York Knicks, specifically under coach Tom Thibodeau, for shaping his defensive mindset. In a recent interview, Grimes said, "Coach Thibs gave me the toughest assignments early in my career, guarding all-stars and superstars. That taught me how to stay locked in every possession. This defensive pedigree is now paying dividends in Dallas. But his time in New York also instilled a toughness and physicality that sets him apart from other guards. When opponents try to post him up, Grimes doesn't just hold his ground, he thrives in those moments. Defense might be Grimes' calling card, but his offensive evolution is what's turning heads. Playing alongside high-gravity players like Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving has opened up the floor for him. For instance, when Luka drives into the paint and draws double teams, Grimes is left wide open on the perimeter, and he's capitalizing on those opportunities, shooting 41% from three this season, an impressive jump from last year's 36%. But Grimes isn't just a catch-and-shoot player. He's added physicality and patience to his offensive game. One highlight play against Karl Anthony Towns showed Grimes driving in transition, bumping a bigger defender off balance, and finishing with a smooth layup. This combination of finesse and strength is making him a nightmare to guard. What most people overlook about Grimes is his emerging playmaking ability. In one play, Grimes received a pass in the corner, but recognized the defensive mismatch. Instead of forcing a contested shot, he drove into the lane and dished it to Daniel Gafford for an easy and one. Moments like these show that Grimes isn't just a scorer or a defender. He's becoming a complete player. His ability to make smart decisions under pressure adds another layer to the Mavericks' offense. Grimes' breakout isn't happening by accident. The Mavericks system under Jason Kidd is tailor-made for a player with his skill set. Kidd's philosophy emphasizes spacing, ball movement, and defense, three areas where Grimes excels. According to Kidd, Grimes understands the game at a high level. He's physical, smart, and unselfish. Playing with Luka and Kyrie gives him opportunities to shine, and he's making the most of it. But there's another reason Grimes is thriving: confidence. When a player feels trusted by their coach and teammates, it can elevate their performance. Grimes is playing with a swagger that shows he knows he belongs on the big stage. With Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving leading the offense, the Mavericks needed a defensive anchor and a reliable third option. Grimes is filling that role perfectly. His ability to guard multiple positions, knock down shots, and make plays in transition gives the Mavericks a dynamic weapon they've been missing. Therefore, Grimes isn't just a role player anymore. He's a game changer. And as the playoffs approach, his impact will only grow. What's even scarier is that Grimes is just scratching the surface of his potential. His defensive instincts combined with his improved shooting and playmaking suggest he could become one of the league's best two-way players in the coming years. But there's one thing holding him back: consistency. If Grimes can maintain this level of play throughout the season, the Mavericks could emerge as serious contenders in the Western Conference. Looking ahead, the Mavericks front office has to be thrilled with Grimes' development. Players like him are hard to find. Someone who can lock down opponents on defense while also contributing on offense. But the real question is, can the Mavericks capitalize on this momentum? With Luka and Kyrie commanding attention, Grimes could be the X factor that pushes this team over the top. So is Quentin Grimes the missing piece the Mavericks need to contend for a championship? Or will he become just another promising player who couldn't sustain his breakout? One thing's for sure, the Mavericks have been hiding a monster, and the rest of the NBA is about to find out. The only question is whether it's already too late to stop him. The Dallas Mavericks are no strangers to adversity. After losing the NBA Finals last year and stumbling out of the gate this season, most people were ready to count them out. But now, the Mavericks have gone on a jaw-dropping win streak, proving they're not just back, they're better than ever. They've clawed their way to the knockout rounds of the NBA Cup, showing grit, determination, and a level of teamwork that's nothing short of extraordinary. The way they're playing right now should terrify the rest of the league. Stick around, because what we're about to break down could change how you see the Mavericks this season. It's easy to look at the Mavericks and credit their superstars, Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, for their success. But that's not the full story. This team has found ways to win even when key players have been out. The most recent example? a 15-point comeback victory in the fourth quarter to keep their NBA Cup dreams alive. And here's the kicker. This win didn't just push them through to the next round, it knocked out one of their biggest rivals, the Phoenix Suns. The Suns, who have consistently been a thorn in the Mavericks' side, were eliminated in a game that showcased everything the Mavericks are doing right this season. So how do you pull off a 15-point comeback in a must-win game? It all starts with team basketball. This isn't just about individual brilliance. It's about players knowing their roles and executing them to perfection. Take this play, for example. After a missed shot by the Memphis Grizzlies, Luka Doncic grabbed the rebound and immediately launched a full-court pass that looked more like something you'd see in an NFL game. Spencer Dinwiddie caught it, handed it off to Daniel Gafford, and Gafford finished at the rim with authority. That single play set the tone for the comeback and showed why this Mavericks team is so dangerous. But Gafford wasn't just making plays on offense. He was the anchor on defense as well. In one critical moment, he disrupted a drive by Memphis's Jake LaRavia, poking the ball loose and sparking a transition opportunity. This led to a wide-open three-pointer for PJ Washington on the other end. Plays like these don't just get you back into games, they energize the entire team. And when you're down double digits in the fourth quarter, that energy can make all the difference. With the deficit cut to 8 points, the Mavericks needed a closer. Enter Luka Doncic. Facing Defensive Player of the Year Marcus Smart, Luka calmly came to a stop, hit his signature step-back three-pointer, and brought the Mavericks within 6. It's moments like these that remind you why Luka is one of the most clutch players in the league. But it wasn't just Luka doing the heavy lifting. Spencer Dinwiddie, a player who left Dallas for a stint with the Lakers before returning, stepped up in a massive way. He hit a pull-up three in transition to give the Mavericks their first lead of the game. Moments later, with Kyrie Irving driving into the paint and drawing multiple defenders, Dinwiddie found himself open on the perimeter again. He didn't hesitate, knocking down another clutch three to extend the lead. Therefore, it's clear that this Mavericks team isn't just relying on its stars. Role players like Dinwiddie, PJ Washington, and Daniel Gafford are stepping up in ways that make this team incredibly hard to beat. Even when Klay Thompson struggled with just 4 points, the Mavericks found ways to win. That depth is what separates good teams from great ones, and right now, the Mavericks are looking like a great team. One of the most exciting developments for Dallas has been the emergence of 20-year-old center Derek Lively. Starting over Gafford in recent games, Lively has been a revelation. He's averaging 17 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game, providing a defensive presence and transition threat that the Mavericks haven't had in years. His ability to run the floor and finish emphatically at the rim has added a new dimension to their offense. But what's even more intriguing is how Dallas is using Lively as a playmaking hub. By giving him the ball at the top of the key and allowing players like Klay Thompson and Luka Doncic to move off the ball, the Mavericks are unlocking creative ways to score. However, this success didn't happen overnight. The Mavericks' path to the NBA Cup has been a grind. They've had to adjust on the fly, deal with injuries, and integrate new players like Najee Marshall. And while Marshall's contributions often fly under the radar, he's been crucial in key moments. Over a 4-game stretch, he averaged over 20 points per game while playing elite defense. His ability to guard the opposing team's best player and still contribute offensively makes him one of the Mavericks' most versatile weapons. But perhaps the biggest question surrounding this team is Klay Thompson. Limited to just 20 minutes in a recent game, Klay's impact has been inconsistent. Some are even wondering if the Mavericks are better without him. Players like Spencer Dinwiddie and Quentin Grimes have flourished in his absence, leading to speculation about what role Klay will play moving forward. Therefore, the Mavericks face an interesting dilemma. Can Klay find his groove and become the player they need him to be? Or will his role continue to diminish as others step up? What's undeniable is that this Mavericks team has transformed in a matter of weeks. They've climbed from 12th to 3rd in the Western Conference in just 18 days, proving that they're not just surviving, they're thriving. And while there are still questions about sustainability, one thing is clear: this team is built to compete. As the NBA Cup progresses, the Mavericks' depth and adaptability will be their greatest strengths. Players like PJ Washington, Derek Lively, and Najee Marshall are proving that they can handle high-pressure situations, which is exactly what you need in a tournament setting. And with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving leading the charge, the Mavericks have the star power to finish the job. So can the Mavericks sustain this level of play and cement themselves as legitimate contenders? Or will the challenges of a long season catch up with them? What we've seen so far suggests that this team isn't just here to participate, they're here to win. But the road ahead won't be easy, and the margin for error is slim. One thing is certain, the Dallas Mavericks have arrived. They're no longer a team with potential, they're a team that's making it happen. And as the rest of the league scrambles to keep up, the Mavericks are showing that they're not just here to compete, they're here to dominate. Imagine this, Luka Doncic goes down, and the Dallas Mavericks are in desperate need of a spark. The team could have crumbled, but that's not what happened. Instead, Kyrie Irving stepped up, not just as a leader, but as a one-of-a-kind player who's rewriting the rules of modern basketball. Whether he's dazzling defenders on the court or turning isolation plays into easy points, Kyrie has become a problem for the rest of the league. And what's even scarier is that this isn't the Kyrie Irving you thought you knew. Dallas has unlocked a completely different version of him, and the NBA should be terrified. Kyrie Irving has always been known for his handles, his creativity, and his ability to hit impossible shots. But under Jason Kidd's system, Kyrie has reached a new level of efficiency. His isolation plays are practically automatic, with Kyrie converting on a jaw-dropping 58% of them. For context, most elite scorers don't even crack 50% in isolation. But Kyrie? He's not just scoring, he's doing it with ease. This all starts with Kyrie's mastery of the triple threat position. While most players use it as a basic setup, Kyrie turns it into a weapon. Picture this. Kyrie catches the ball in the mid-range, and his defender is glued to him. Instead of over-dribbling, Kyrie throws a simple jab step. The defender backs off just enough, and Kyrie uses that space to nail a perfect mid-range jumper. That's the beauty of his game. It's simple, yet devastatingly effective. But Kyrie doesn't just stop at the first jab step. He uses it to set up even more dangerous plays. In one sequence, Kyrie tested his defender with a quick jab, then faked another before driving into the paint for a floater. Moves like these keep defenders guessing, and when they finally react, it's already too late. Therefore, Kyrie's triple threat game isn't just about scoring, it's about control. He's dictating the pace, the spacing, and the outcome of every possession. Now let's talk about Kyrie's off-ball movement. Most people think of Kyrie as a ball-dominant guard, but in Dallas, he's showing a completely different side of his game. Off the ball, Kyrie is just as lethal. Take this play, for example. Kyrie cuts into the paint, seals his defender behind him, and catches a pass from Daniel Gafford mid-air. Without even landing, he finishes the play with an N1 bucket. His timing, IQ, and concentration in these moments are second to none. But Kyrie's cutting isn't just about flashy plays. It's about exploiting weaknesses in the defense. On one possession, Kyrie noticed that his defender was trailing behind. Instead of jogging up the floor, Kyrie darted into the empty paint. Maxi Kleber set a perfect seal, and Kyrie finished with an uncontested layup. Plays like these show how Kyrie is using his basketball IQ to create easy scoring opportunities without having to dominate the ball. Jason Kidd deserves credit here too. Kidd has been using Kyrie in ways that maximize his strengths while minimizing his workload. For example, Kidd often positions Kyrie as a screener in pick-and-roll actions. At first glance, this might seem unusual for a superstar guard, but the genius lies in the unpredictability. Opposing defenses focus on the ball handler, only to watch Kyrie slip the screen, cut into the paint, and finish at the rim. Therefore, Kyrie's role as a screener adds another layer of complexity to the Mavericks' offense. However, this evolution in Kyrie's game doesn't mean he's stopped being the dynamic playmaker we all know. When Kyrie does have the ball, it's an absolute show. Whether he's hitting defenders with a hesitation move or threading the needle on a pass, Kyrie's ability to create is unmatched. In fact, he ranks third in the NBA in points per possession on pick-and-roll plays, averaging 1.14 points. This combination of scoring and playmaking makes him nearly impossible to defend. But here's where things get really interesting. The Mavericks have taken some of the playmaking responsibilities off Kyrie's shoulders, allowing him to focus more on scoring. Players like Spencer Dinwiddie have stepped up as secondary ball handlers, freeing Kyrie to operate off the ball. On one possession, Dinwiddie initiated the offense while Kyrie ran through a series of screens. The result? A wide-open three-pointer for Kyrie, made possible by his teammates' efforts. This shift in responsibilities has made Kyrie more efficient, but it's also elevated the entire team. Dinwiddie, for example, has flourished in his new role, averaging career-high numbers in assists and scoring. And when Luka Doncic returns to full health, the Mavericks will have 3 elite playmakers sharing the court. Therefore, the team's ceiling is higher than ever. But let's not forget about the moments when Kyrie takes over. In a recent game against the Washington Wizards, Kyrie dropped 25 points while making it look effortless. After the game, a Wizards player described the experience of guarding Kyrie as unreal. He said, "You don't even have time to think. He's coming at you the next play." This quote perfectly captures the chaos Kyrie creates on the court. Whether he's setting screens, running pick and rolls, or spotting up in the corner, Kyrie's unpredictability keeps defenses on their heels. And it's not just Kyrie who benefits from this chaos. His presence creates opportunities for everyone around him. Take Spencer Dinwiddie again. When Kyrie and Luka are on the floor, they attract so much defensive attention that Dinwiddie often finds himself with wide-open looks. This gravitational pull isn't just a bonus, it's a game changer. Therefore, Kyrie's impact goes beyond his individual stats. He's making his teammates better, and that's what great players do. But are we really seeing a new Kyrie Irving? The answer is yes. This version of Kyrie is more efficient, more versatile, and more dangerous than ever before. By taking some of the workload off his shoulders, the Mavericks have unlocked a player who can dominate without having to do everything himself. And with Jason Kidd's innovative coaching, Kyrie is thriving in ways we've never seen. So what does this mean for the Mavericks? Simply put, they're contenders. With Luka, Kyrie, and a supporting cast that knows their roles, this team has the tools to compete with anyone. But the real question is whether they can sustain this level of play over an entire season. The early signs are promising, but the NBA is a marathon, not a sprint. One thing is certain, though. Kyrie Irving has unlocked a new level of greatness, and the rest of the league should take notice. Whether he's breaking ankles with his triple threat moves or cutting through defenses like a surgeon, Kyrie is showing why he's one of the most unique talents in NBA history. And with the Mavericks fully embracing his strengths, this could be the beginning of something special. So are the Mavericks finally putting it all together? Or is this just a glimpse of what they're capable of? One thing's for sure, this team and this version of Kyrie Irving isn't going away anytime soon.